You open your phone for a moment, just to check something. Within seconds you see it. Someone your age announcing a promotion, someone traveling, someone launching a visible project. You scroll a little further and a quiet thought appears. I should be further than this. It is small, it is not dramatic, but it lingers, and over time, it becomes a background feeling that you are somehow behind. By the end of this video, you will understand 3 mechanisms that make this feeling so easy today, why it persists even when nothing is objectively wrong, and 1 practical way to notice it in the moment so it stops running the day for you. Welcome to Mini Mind Hack. Many people now experience a low-level sense of falling behind even while they are progressing in steady, reasonable ways. In this short essay, we will first examine how comparison works in practice, then how the social environment has accelerated, and finally, why our internal standards have quietly weakened. By following these steps, you will be able to see the pattern as a structural phenomenon rather than a personal verdict. Start with comparison. Comparison is not new. People have always measured themselves against others. The difference today is scale and visibility. In the past, comparison happened within a small circle. Neighbors, colleagues, friends. You could see whole trajectories, not only outcomes. Now you encounter hundreds of curated moments every day. Finished projects, polished milestones, decisive announcements. You rarely see the quiet middle like the months of doubt, the false starts, the slow progress, because feeds and posts present outcomes as if they appeared fully formed. The brain constructs a timeline from those fragments. The result looks like continuous forward motion in other people's lives, while your own inside experience still feels slow and intermittent. That mismatch is not a factual error. It is a distorted perspective produced by selective visibility. Second, the pace of life has increased in ways that matter psychologically. The sociologist Hartmut Rosa describes modern societies as accelerating. More choices, faster communication, more visible change in a shorter time. Practically, this means more potential paths are visible to you at any moment. Where once there were a few plausible life tracks, there are now dozens. Courses, side projects, launches, relocations, and career pivots appear constantly. The number of possible lives you could lead expands, and with that, the number of ways to feel behind. Even if you make steady progress in one direction, you are simultaneously not progressing in many others, and attention keeps flicking toward those unattended paths. The environment, by presenting a buffet of options, increases the sense of missed alternatives. That ambient awareness of what you are not doing is exhausting because it never closes. Third, a quieter shift happens inside the person. Over time, people move from being primarily guided by internal standards to being guided by external signals. David Reisman described this as a shift between being internally directed and being other-directed. In a connected world, the cues you use to orient yourself become social and constantly updating. You begin to measure progress not by your own markers but by the changing spotlight. Who got the promotion? Who posted the success? What counts as visible achievement this month? That external calibration has no stable baseline. It changes with every scroll. So the question stops being, am I moving in a direction that suits me? And becomes, how does my life compare right now? The second question has no fixed answer. It is an ever-shifting scoreboard, and living against that scoreboard trains the mind to feel perpetually short. These 3 mechanisms, selective visibility, social acceleration, and external calibration, work together. Comparison expands, speed increases, internal direction weakens. The result is a moving target you cannot quite reach, which explains why the feeling of being behind is persistent and not necessarily diagnostic of failure. It is also why simple advice like work harder, choose better, often feels hollow. The problem is not a single decision, but an environment that continuously recalibrates what counts as progress. So what do you do with that realization? The practical step is small and concrete. Name the moment. The next time the thought, I should be further, appears, say to yourself quietly, this is a comparison signal. That brief naming interrupts the automatic judgment and creates a tiny cognitive gap. In that gap, you can choose how to respond. Then pick one internal metric that matters to you, one indicator that measures progress on your own terms, not someone else's highlight reel. It might be a weekly work sample, a steady hour of focused practice, a short list of meaningful tasks completed. Use that metric as a recurring check. It anchors your sense of progress to a single, stable standard rather than to an endless stream of other people's results. When you make that naming and choose a personal metric repeatedly, the background noise loses power. The feeling of being behind does not vanish immediately. It becomes easier to recognize for what it is, a signal shaped by the environment, not a final judgment on your life. That recognition is the practical advantage. Once you see the mechanism, you stop treating every scroll as evidence about your worth and start treating it as data about the world you are living in. Thank you for watching Mini Mind Hack. If this helped you notice the pattern, share a single line in the comments about what you will use as your own internal metric. Small, concrete choices are surprisingly contagious. If you want more evidence-based explorations of how modern life shapes mind and identity, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.